Okay, so this is VINOLAN Ponnan. He is Vin Dragonheart. He is a multidimensional facilitator and holder of space. In the early 2000s, he was initiated into the Usai Tibetan method of Reiki. With his growing interest in spirituality, including EFT, grace healing, infinite healing, light language, and holographic principles, he currently works with his team of divine workers that include his soul aspect, dragons and crows, to name a few, to clear the detrimental energies, as well as bring in appropriate light body upgrades. So, over to you. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Barbara. Thank you for hosting. And yeah, thank you, Ken, as well, for setting this up. This is such an amazing event. When I first logged in, when you started about an hour ago, it was just crazy energy that was here already. So really, I'm just blown away. Thank you again. So yeah, Barbara, yeah, thank you for the quick introduction. Yeah, I go by the name of Vin Dragonheart. That is a name that was given to me by the dragons. So in past lives, I was the apprentice for Mother, and I used to take care of the dragons as well. So it's kind of a nickname that they gave me. And part of my journey included actually integrating that energy, which was over 4 lifetimes. So I brought everything to the fold here and now. So this is what we actually use to clear as well. And yeah, you mentioned my team of dragons as well. I also work with crows. I do work with swans and Lyran energies and whatever else comes through that is for the highest good. Generally in the session, it's just depending on what your intention is, and there's many different beings that come to assist. But I'd like to clear trauma for this summit here today. Trauma is very big to clear for me because when you start lifting these traumas, you start making space for light, you start making space for love, you start making space for the rest of your awakening process. So this couple of weeks leading up to this event, I was trying to think, what shall we actually do? And they kept on hinting at trauma. So that is what we're going to do here now. So this will be kind of a guided meditation. There won't be a lot of visualization, but there'll be a lot of light language coming through as well. So I'm just going to invite you to get comfortable. And you can close your eyes if you want. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. As we now set the space to create a sacred space and time with a fully reflective shield on the outside. Connecting everyone to source above. Connecting everyone to God below. And combining the energies from above and below within your heart space. As you know, expand all the way into the edges of reality, all the way into the edges of all there is. Now we're going to surround everyone with dragon light. And visualize this light as a golden field of energy. This energy is sentient. This energy is loving, it's healing. So the first thing we're going to do is lift and clear any detrimental energies from your auric field. Na korulo kuriesia la korusur ulla karata sur uriata shitia la korusur na yerata la korusur wayata kuru la karashito ulo kuriana kata torusur la karatu martishitala wan marata tatlo korusur wan shina. Now we're going to activate the dragon egg around your auric field. And you're going to feel things getting very quiet around you now. Your headspace will be a lot calmer. Now we're going to proceed to clear any detrimental energies that you are holding on to from the collective. Arana shutur lukurusi la kata la kurusuru la karana shukutur wari la kurutsu wari tishitar tsar umarkiti nala kurutolo o sulu wala tata la kuruya na sarada taroria ukurulu kuriyachi la kurutu suru kichi la kurutolo kurman andara tarala kurutsu war la kartu uchi la kutuwar ichi la kitish kutolor la lukure la unsuru war tar umwa. Okay, we're now going to clear any energies from other external sources that is affecting you, that is impacting your well-being. Bro oralak utor utolokorita la kurundoria marala kurutsolo insilar kata shuko war ila untus kutuar salakuru lar utor. I'm now going to clear any detrimental energies from you to yourself. Sarlakru utsur war lakre shitor lokurietsi lakre teshitor utsur walaka lakrena shutor wariana Murwar lekete shikzalar utsur itzilar kutor utsur war illa kreta sur oriatar kiti shikutor lo hialar utsur or illa kreta sur oria uyena ita sheta la kur utsur lo kutor war itzilar utur war kiti shikutor or sialar utur utzilar utur war in kargatar lo kuria chiala utzilar katar lo inzilar utur war itziarga or illa kreta shukutsur or ata chatarka Karata tsur urte shitar la kor utsur wari la karana shukurwa in surol la kritishiti la la kor ori la kor utur wari mara la kor utsur la kritishiti la unsar urwa. Deep breath in and exhale. And we're now moving towards trauma related to violence. We're now going to clear from you. Salarun silar lar kutor or ila rata solo or ila so unde shitarka or ya rata la tishatela or ila sierra dargor itila or ila or la sierra chialarka or la or etila unsel tar utsora tich satar utsor or etila so or etishitar la kutor war itishitar la soror la ketishitar la kutor or etila iti shikar la krotsor warila atsa la krotsor wargeti shikar krotsor warila karapo watsa iti shotsor or la krata sora lo warila itsi la korwa salar taru korwi salar kotumda salar tsor warila rala sal wari katar. Moving into clearing traumas from oppression sarala koruya la krata kiti shikotoru la koruya la krata suruya la suruna shi kiti shikotoru la katar la koruya na la koru morte la kuto shokoru la rata la rata shokoru mur cholo rotsia la rata sar la koru insar kiti shikotoru la krata suruna shi rata suruya la krata tola kiti shat atarata shokoru Karala uturwa ila krete lar utur yetiar rotsi lar utur otsiar atatar urwa. Carrying the traumas from war, sarala utsiala tsiala kata soto sita kata hotsila utsia. Kitishikato or atala kuruntura la kunturia la kutura tashi. Sarana uria la kuturunin rata. Sala utur oria kete sura la kutura la ora. Muru la krata sur la krata si la rata ta sur narwa roto sur la tsela sur eta sur otor rata ta ona shita sur la khiecho umor etja sarata oto chita oto hishata uto. Clearing bloodshed and those traumas.
Jeloko lakrumorila narkoa salare tsuru laktasuntoa ilakutuwa lakrunsuwa lakratsara itala urmo lakita shata undo lakita unwahila urwa lakutsuwa lakitishito umwarishata sala khtur jala khurti lakurula jila undar la tsuwa.
Clearing all traumas associated with being a victim, marata tsoro loko ya siala hu tsoro mori lakra ine shikatar hu tsoro wari lakata shutor wali lakro unsora itzialar hu loko itzialar to ho sheter lakro tsoro mori ya tishetar tsalar hu loro tsoro wala kro to wala ita shanarwar insal koror loko ya la ro lakra la ori lakra tsor ya la ila kro to shella tsor or etishitar ikiti shugodor tsoro lakatsar ur mori ya sala Olokora la krata so or atas or la kala utsula krata sana la to shoko utsur urura ine rolor la krata sella ku uruna sha your traumas associated with being a perpetrator as well sala kru utor husur utishitar la kru utsul ru la kitishala ka
Lokolo la kretia la kretia la krudo la kratar ntokwa uruna la
urumo shatar la ko ore la kana go to shoko ai la ko ai ata para la ko suru la kretia la roto lo la ya la ta shata la ko la shila roto lo sila roto to lo ki la roto to ote ki te shoko to ro suru la krata la roto shoko ai la merete la ko wa la ka kuro ko to so o la krete la roto shoko ra la roto shoko wa la kuro to so war ila to shoko na shindara Uruariarala, Uruarala, Uruayashila, Uruariara, that's Ura is mentioned as appropriate. Moving over to the blood and DNA to clear that as well from these traumas. Zalakor unsur untor utsielakor unsur olakar shitar lokor elakaratsur ne shikatala rola kitishanar utsur lokor elakaratsanar urila ne shikolo rusur orela kratsiara ta shutotola hisya inselar uturuat selar utur katsar utur utushukur git ik lakratsu orata shella kotsiela itsinar inkroto su un shitar unsur wariata arata sur por ata shekla utushukor inaralla ruai la kratsirgora Yitsuru tsuru la tsiera takar utsuru siel akhetsia uturu siela roto marata suru la krashik la utsur ina la utsuru wari la tsarana ya itsiela utushuko suluri tsikta utur salar utushukur war la kreatsia urwaneda came from past lives zalakrutu suru marina shar unsil Itishikatarulu lectiler kitish utsuru ratila kata surwanashi borola kreteshe la kotsularia la kata seler utulu kronchinar etishikatsir urulu kronchila tisir le krutsuru le kitishanar ukuruaria marla kurwatser la kurto surwa inishikator uswalwar wa yekrata sur urata sia kitush utsuru la tiela sur onena shetarzel la kruto sur la kretishi Irikador la Kuruata, la Kuruan Ciela Roa, Maratsuluko et Ciela, Kurutoraka, Ruakur et Sierana, Rutsua. Take another deep breath in, exhale. As you now clear from your human ancestry, Salakru Tsuru la Krasuru, la Kratsuru, la Tsar al Turua, Ikiti Sil Rulukur, Itzia Krutsuru, Watsala Kutosho, Yargotor, la Kurote, Shindarga, la Kutsur Untar, Inaral Sur Uretzia la Krutsuru, Tiar, Yetesho Ruala Katasar Lako, Inishiklo Watzilar Utuloria Zilaku Reala, and Ashukutu Wari Tsiala Utur Utser Patar, Utur Oriala Utoshukur, Etsia Karata. Atatator orarata, asatar ororata, sarato unshua. Extending this to the galactic ancestry and calling in Merlin for this, as well as his three dragons that assist here with this today. Morualara Nanashu Utsuro, Lakrata, Uruaria, Lakrata, Sarauaria, Gareta Chalak Utsuroya, Nasiarata, Utsurwaki, Silehoto Urulokoroya, Nashatalar Utsuria, Lakara Utsuria, Charwat, Yarat Waria Lakoti, Shalak Uruaya, Nasura, Ichielaro Torosi, Laro Torokoricia, Uturu Murki, Salakuruto Usuruaria, Lako Urumatia, Salaku Utsuru, Lakatar, Urua. Inish ikarata sukuala kratsur urodashi mar o intakatata unsukor iyana. Take another deep breath in. As we now begin to integrate these changes as meant and as appropriate. And asking Source as well as our team to replace any voids with what has been removed or what has been removed with Source. And anything else that is for your highest good. And calling in the dragons to now assist with the grounding process. Just really feel your roots go all the way to Gaia. Anchoring yourself back into this reality, back into this room. Take a deep breath in and open your eyes whenever you are ready. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. So how's everyone feeling? Please do not forget to hydrate. We're going to be doing a lot of that, not just now, but throughout this entire event. When the dragons bring fire and they're hot. I'm actually feeling so hot now.
You're not feeling so hot. Got rid of all that fire energy. So you're getting lots of thank yous. I was burping.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Yeah. There's a couple of sort of questions here left over from the last one, but I think there's, so somebody's asking, the second question is, can you explain to me how it makes sense to mash so many different, often not compatible belief systems together? Sorry for the harsh wording. It is not intended as an attack, but a genuine question I've been having for years. I mean, I think that it is a very broad question. And I personally don't see it as mashing things together, but.
Yeah, so I think the best way to answer that is, remember, everyone comes from different backgrounds, and whatever you find yourself in is exactly where you find yourself. So with mashing up different beliefs, it's not really that it's a mashup, it's just what you are accepting in the moment. You are. Yeah, my laptop died. But yeah, I switched over to the mobile.
All right, that's all that energy, right? It just sucked it right out of your computer.
Yeah, I was supposed to have at least 2 hours left, but yeah.
Oh,
there it goes.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, we had interesting when we met with Kevin last week. We had a dragon come in, so not surprised. I mean, the energy right now, like for me, is like really, really high. And since your transmission, like my head's going to explode. So I also wanted to remind everybody, please drink plenty of water all day. We need to flush our systems. I think we might have another question, but we were talking about this mishmash, as some people feel it is. I agree. I don't think it is.
Yeah, so my opinion on that is that, look, whatever you believe in is just a model, all right? And there's many models that are true for you in the moment because of the reality that we live in. We live in a quantum world, and because of the observer effect, as you observe things to be true, they become true. So what are you honoring in the moment? What is showing up for you? What do you regard as true? And that will be a model, and that will work for you until it doesn't. Then it's just as easy to switch to another model that does work to you. I mean, if you were to look at your spiritual journeys, I mean, mine started from a very young age, and we get to learn different things and we get to apply different things. And those are the rule sets that we play in until new energies start coming in, until new awakenings start coming in, until new information starts coming in as well. So then you adopt that. So be flexible with that in knowing that, look, I have a model now and he's serving me, and I'm open to change. And when things change, make the intention so that it does change for the best. So it's not so much about having a mismatch or a mixed match of all of different things. If you read a lot of books, you're going to find a lot of information that's going to contradict each other, which is fine because everyone has their own experiences. Everyone has
their own memories and their own interactions with reality, with themselves, and with source. So what's important is that you need to define the rules that you want to play. Get to meditation, connect with your oversoul, connect to source. The belief is just a belief which you can regard as a rule set. But rules can be changed. Rules are just suggestions. So as you become more flexible in your thinking, then you will be able to actually navigate into different waters much easier, rather than being kind of held down by your own mind, because that's where all the limitation is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So thank you for that. So the other question is, was the dragon light language golden in vibration? Very present gold energy during that trauma clearing?
Yeah, so I have a couple of aspects that I work with. So the dark one, which is like, he's kind of black and golden, so he's very ancient as well. But the one you probably are referring to would have been the solar dragon aspect, which is golden, and he also brings in a lot of frequencies. So it doesn't really work with a lot of flames. It's more frequency based. So if you hear something like, so yeah, that would have been the golden dragon that you were picking up on.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing the word warrior and aura several times, yeah, that would make sense, and that would be part of the intention of this clearing as well. Because remember, human history is very complicated with all of the wars and the fighting that we've actually lived through, and that it's still occurring, whether it's in the media or whether it's not. But that also extends into the galactic wars, for example, the Lyran Vega wars and all of that kind of stuff. So we've been warriors, we've been fighting for a very long time, and we've been holding this, and especially within DNA, because that is what DNA is. DNA contains the mechanism to hold memory in. So it makes sense that you would have heard warrior and aura there as well.
Mm-hmm. So there's another question for you. How did you come to be able to channel your dragons to speak through you like that?
Look, everything is in good time. That's something that I always believe. And once again, it just depends on the model that you're working with. So I was exposed to light language probably about 5, 6, or 7 years ago, and totally unresonated with it at the time. I thought people who doing light language were crazy. I was just like, nah, these people are kooks. But prior to that, obviously, I was doing other stuff. For example, Reiki. I was exposed to other kind of modalities like quantum touch, matrix energetics as well, really playing in the quantum realms. So light language just made no sense to me until maybe about, when was it? It was either last year or the year before that, where I went for a clearing with someone. She did light language on me, and then my own light language was activated. And I started to then speak it, but it was just coming out in drips and drabs, not really knowing what it is that I was saying. So when I asked her what it was, she said, well, it was ancient dragon. So, okay, like, cool, okay. Let's run with it. Now my beliefs have changed. My model has changed. So I'm running with this story. So it was my birthday that I had an activation with someone else. And prior to that, I was starting to practice light language, so not really knowing what I was saying, but essentially what was happening is I was clearing my channel, okay? So everyone has a channel. When you tap into the Akashic records, you have a stream of information coming through as well. If you're doing automatic writing or any type of channeling, when you first begin, you got to clear the channel to get rid of all of that backlog information that's there. And luckily for me, it was coming out in the form of light language. So I used to practice at least about 1.5 hours a day. Reason being, I had that amount of time to practice it because it was kind of a longish commute to work, about 40 minutes each way. So during the time I was driving, I was actually channeling light language. So the more and more I was clearing out, I started then applying it to specific traumas within myself. For example, if something triggered me, I would then say, I would like to clear this and use light language for that. And I found that this was actually working a lot quicker. And I worked with emotional freedom technique. Emotional freedom technique is quick. This seemed to get right to the issues. And boom, I was feeling a lot lighter. I was bringing more information in. And I was starting to see things a lot more. I was starting to hear things a lot more. And part of the things I started to see more and more was my dragons that were coming through. So all different types, all with different types of energy, all with different types of messages. So that's how it started off with me.
Cool. So a quick question, which is, how do you see dragons? And I think we could all answer that differently, but we'll look forward to your answer. And how do you see a dragon?
Okay, so the dragon, I would say, yeah, I'm using my imagination. And why I say imagination? Because imagination is not this willy-nilly thing that people think it isn't real. Your imagination is a function of your mind. It's a faculty of the mind. And basically, it is your third eye. And that's how your third eye will see. Right. So when I see it, it's kind of overlaying with physical reality. So I can see them with my eyes open and I can see them standing there. It's not that I'm seeing it with my eyes, but I am seeing it with my brain. So people are different. And the way I pick up information, obviously, is through my senses, through your nervous system. And yeah, that's how I see it. Other people will be different, of course.
Right.
But that's them on their journey.
Right. And some people don't ever see, they sense dragons. Sometimes you see them at the periphery. They don't always come into focus. And I think you're right. It's and the more you connect with dragons, the more they're going to show themselves to you. So I have an interesting question here. Is the massive solar flare expected this month related to solar dragons bringing in the high frequency? Great question.
Let's tune in and listen to what they say.
Right.
Okay, yeah, they're saying, yeah, it is coming through. It has something to do with the dragons as well. But what do you guys want? Just give me a sec. Okay, so for everyone here, we're just going to activate the solar energy frequency field. So this is going to help you to integrate the changes that are coming with the high frequencies from the sun. So just give me a sec. Connecting to everyone, activate solar energy frequency field now, if it's meant as appropriate. To bring in the codes to better integrate with the upcoming solar flares as well as the information. Thank you. All right, so that is, you're going to feel kind of increase in energy. You might feel yourself getting hot in your body and in and around you, which is fine. It's just more alignment coming through for what's to come.
Right. So the next question is, do you have any tips for someone, I think you mean looking to let go and connect with light language? Any recommendation on sources of information?
One of the biggest sources of information you can find is YouTube as well as TikTok. There's lots of practitioners on TikTok. It's where I found the lady that activated me, and I just knew that I had to have a session with her because you could feel that nudge, you could feel that push. So it definitely was a soul contract to be honored at that point in time to bring us to where we were. But it's practice. Basically, it's practice, and then when it happens, it happens. You know, you can get activated by other people, you can get self-activated, but it's got to be something that you want. It's got to be something that you will realize that it's easy to get frustrated with, because you might find that the language that comes through is not necessarily how you would like it to sound, is not necessarily something that you would expect, which is fine. Once again, it's about clearing up the channel. So prior to doing any light language or any type of energy work, you get to the basics, and the basics is your anchoring and your grounding. You want to anchor up to source or to your oversoul, and you anchor to Gaia, and you really get that, because when that energy becomes entrained into your nervous system, then you're going to find the rest of your gifts opening up and expanding, and expansion happens, and then more information comes through. So get to the basics first before you want to start channeling light language or any type of channeling, because this type of work can train you because of all the information that comes through. So you need to build up the muscle. And one of the best ways to build up the muscle is to first anchor and ground then the rest of your team can come through and you can ask them for upgrades. That's how I did it.
Yeah, 100% agree. That's exactly what I was told when I first encountered dragons, that I'd been putting the work in first, which was the grounding and connecting. And the deeper you go, the higher the vibration. So I always hear that. So I think that was a great way of explaining it. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
I can feel the anchoring. So there's a very long question here, which I'm not sure about. So somebody's talking about astral travel, near-death experience. So it's sort of her personal experience. I don't know, do you have any thoughts on astral travel and near-death experience?
Astral travel is a way to visit other dimensions. That's one way of looking at it.
Right.
Yeah, and there's many ways to do it, lots of methods. You know, people get all relaxed, and usually it's at that point where they fall asleep, and then they create like a body double and they project the consciousness into it. But once again, if you use your imagination, because we need to get away from this belief that it's only your imagination. Imagination is a facility of the mind, and you can use that to navigate into other dimensions, into the astral worlds, into all other different types of worlds with your consciousness, because your consciousness is not limited to your body. Your consciousness is expanding all the way past the edges of reality and even beyond. That's how big the energy of our oversoul is. So within there's different frequencies and different dimensions. And in the same way that we are now in a 3D and we're observing things in a specific way because that's how our brain is interpreted, you will then need to practice to get into your mind, get into your imagination, project to something or somewhere where you'd like to be, using your mind, and then allow that information to show up, allow your brain to receive that information. And it's fine if you see nothing initially. It's fine. But there's a thing that's called practice. And the more you practice, the more you let go, the more things can happen.
Yeah, definitely be open to all possibilities. I think a lot of people's journey has been, they weren't expecting it and sort of things just pop in. So right now, does anybody have any questions? We've got like 9 minutes for more questions. Oh, here we go. Is light language specifically dragon energy or more universal language that the dragons and other beings use?
Could you repeat that, Bob?
Sure. Is light language specifically dragon energy or more universal language that the dragons and other beings use?
So light language would be based on what your intention is. Okay, so as you intend to channel to source, and then that's a language that's going to come through. As you intend to channel from your aspects, then that's a language that is going to come through. It's just a method of communication, but within that method of communication consists a whole lot of information. It consists frequencies. It's also having remembrance codes as well. So the type of energy that a light language facilitator can bring is it's source energy if they connect to source, or it's the different aspects, meaning your dragon aspect, your Pleiadian aspect, all of the different types of starseed aspects. And that's the type of energy that will come through as well.
Yes, I would agree. I actually don't I use light language, but I don't, as yet, don't use vocals. And I think you're right. I get downloaded with light language, but I don't right now use vocals. So another question, trust. Do I learn to trust my imagination and the light language I seem to be developing?
So if your intention is to connect to the highest and the purest, then yes, trusting is a big thing. And if trust is coming up for you, then trust is one of your life lessons that you need to learn at this point in time. So your imagination, once again, what is it? It's a faculty. You don't see with your eyes anyways, you're seeing with your brain. You don't hear with your ears, you're seeing or you're hearing with your brain. At the same time, when the information comes through in your third eye, it's forming images, it's forming sounds, but all of that is being processed by your brain. So you can trust it, but you need to verify whatever it is that you're doing. In the same way that you would verify things in the 3D, you would verify things in the astral or in the spiritual dimensions. One of the ways that you can learn to do that first is by practicing your own intuition, using maybe perhaps a pendulum. Maybe it is the other thing that they use with the body. I can't remember what the name is. Muscle testing, yeah, all of that kind of things. So develop your own way to trust your information that's coming through. And the more and more practice you then develop, sometimes what can happen is you can get that feeling coming through or knowing. For example, if I want to ask a question, if I want to connect to something to see whether there's truth in it, I'll pay attention to my heart space. So for a yes, I get the energy movement in a specific way. And then for a no, I get the energy moving in a different way. You can also do the same thing. Connect to your higher self, connect to source. Ask them, please give me information for yes. Give me information for no. And notice how your body feels. Because your body is an extension of your nervous system as well as your subconscious mind. You want to be working as an entire package, not to leave things in isolation.
Yeah. So the next question is, can a dragon weaken or wither away and come back to us? I had an experience similar, and I am curious why this happened. If you may know, thank you.
My feeling on that one is, as much as there are different types of beings out there, there are also different types of dragon. Okay, so some of the dragons are very ancient, some of them are a lot newer, and some of them are also going through their life processes as parallel versions of ourselves. For example, as we are here on the 3D, our oversoul may have another a dragon that it is energizing and having a different lifetime altogether. So in terms of what's going on with that dragon might be perhaps trapped on another planet, or it is imprisoned by some way or the other, where it's being used by perhaps dark magic or anything like that. Now, once again, I don't expect everyone to believe this, but I do believe in the concepts of there's many truths and there's many different realities. So in that sense, if you were to connect to that specific type of dragon, yes, if someone is draining its energy, or if a dark magician is draining that type of energy, that energy would then tend to wither away, very much the same way that we feel drained by people around us or psychic vampires, people that abuse us as well. We also start to feel drained, we also start to wither away. So yes, it can happen with certain types of dragons, but not all of them. Like I said, there'll be different classifications of dragons, but it is possible, what you are saying, in my opinion.
Yeah. Have you mastered at some point the natural elements through dragon energy?
I did not master natural elements with dragon energy. I was experimenting many, many years ago, probably in my early teens, with weather control, so trying to make it rain. Because when you're young, you do stupid things anyways. So yeah, but that was way before the dragons started to come through.
Yeah, cool. So we're on 5 minutes. So there's a couple more questions. When I was a child, I had created a language, or so I thought, until I heard you, Vin, speak, as how you spoke was very similar to what I called my made-up gibberish. Yet I had a roommate once that we would speak this gibberish together and yet seem to understand each other. Would this have been like an activation of a light language?
Yeah, so I wouldn't actually call it the activation of the light language. It is more like the channeling of the light language. So when you get activated for a specific dialect, and that's when the codes are put into you, and then you start speaking that dialect. If you're already speaking it, then you're already activated with that. And more than often, you're probably communicating with soul language, which is like your very true essence with your friend. So yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is probably our last one, which I think is funny because I just had a very funny answer pop in my head. What do dragons prefer as an offering?
I am not a person who does offerings. So if you really want to do an offering, then just be a good person, you know? Honor your gifts, honor the people around you. Understand that we are connected to everything and everyone, including the dragons, including every other being on this planet. I mean, the more you get rid of your hierarchy about things, the more things will show up for you. Okay, there's no higher self, there's no lower self, there just is. There just is source, just playing a game with itself. So if offerings is your thing, go ahead and do with it, because I'm not going to trample on your beliefs. There are many different cultures who do it. But in my experience, I do not offer anything to dragons.
Yeah. So there's two quick questions. So Angela Gale, your question is this seminar too powerful for my body to hold? I'm feeling very unwell. Yes, please drink lots of water and lay down. I don't know what your answer is, Vin, but yes, this is very powerful, and you're getting, layer and layer and layer of activations. So plenty of water and rest. And the last question, what is your perspective on the Dragon Year 2024 with 2 minutes left?
I don't have a perspective on it because the future is what we hold and what we choose. So if you have a specific thing that you want to bring through, then choose it. I'm going to keep that simple because, fortunes and telling the future perspectives, it just depends on what it is that you choose. My perspective is to be on the now and to see what shows up as best as I can. And to think into 2024, I'm going to be doing the same thing. But what is your perspective and what would you like to actually bring into the world? Forget about 2024. What would you like to bring now? What would you like to bring tomorrow? What would you like to bring this week? So guiding yourself through that will actually then make sure that it's going to be a fantastic 2024 for you.
Yeah. So that's fabulous, Vin. Thank you so much. I think another great perspective on dragons and the dragon language, which I think by the end of this, we're all going to understand it because it's all very similar. So thank you so much. Great presentation.